Have you ever felt like as the years go by, certain parts of life just fade? Maybe you look back and wish you'd understood some things sooner, things that felt complicated or even taboo when you were younger. It's a painful reality for many men, isn't it? The feeling that perhaps they missed opportunities for deeper connection, for more joy, for a different kind of intimacy than they experienced in their youth. Society sometimes tells us that certain aspects of life, especially intimate ones, are only for the young, or that they change in ways that diminish them as we age. But what if that's not the whole story? What if there are vital lessons, hard-won wisdom that could change everything, even now? What if older men who've navigated these waters have secrets they wish they'd known decades ago? It turns out doctors who work closely with older adults often hear about these very things, these regrets and revelations. In this video, we're going to explore 5 powerful secrets about intimacy and connection that many older men discover later in life, secrets they genuinely wish they'd known sooner. These aren't just about physical mechanics. They're about life itself, about understanding yourself and your partner on a deeper level. These are genuine life lessons from those who have lived them. Watch to the end, because there's something we'll share that might truly surprise you and offer a fresh perspective. Let's dive right into the first of these profound secrets, one that often takes men years, sometimes decades, to truly grasp. It's a secret that doctor after doctor hears echoed in conversations with their older male patients, a simple truth that unlocks a different kind of intimacy, a richer connection than they might have experienced earlier in life. The first secret is this: intimacy isn't just about the physical act. For so long, particularly when we're younger, the focus can be heavily placed on the physical side of things. Performance, stamina, the act itself, these often dominate the conversation and the expectation. And yes, the physical aspect is a wonderful, important part of a healthy relationship and a fulfilling life. But the profound lesson many men learn later, the secret they wish they'd known, is that true, lasting intimacy is built on a much broader foundation. It's built on emotional connection, on communication, on shared vulnerability, on simply being present with your partner. Think about the relationships you've seen that truly thrive over the long haul. They aren't just couples who maintain physical activity, though that's great if they do. They are couples who are friends, confidants, who support each other through thick and thin. This secret, that intimacy is more than physical, means cultivating other aspects of your relationship. It means talking, really talking, about your feelings, your fears, your hopes, your day. It means listening, not just hearing the words, but truly understanding your partner's perspective, their emotional state. It means showing affection in non-physical ways, holding hands while watching television, leaving a sweet note, doing a small act of kindness without being asked, sharing a long hug. These small gestures build a reservoir of connection and trust that is incredibly powerful. When you feel truly connected emotionally, the physical side of intimacy, if and when it happens, is often deeper, more meaningful, and more satisfying, regardless of the physical changes that come with age. A painful reality for many men is reaching a point where physical intimacy might become more challenging or less frequent than it once was. And if their entire definition of intimacy was tied solely to that, they feel a profound loss, a sense of failure or inadequacy. This secret is the key to overcoming that. It's understanding that the capacity for deep, loving, intimate connection only grows stronger with age and shared history, provided you nurture the emotional and communicative aspects of the relationship. Doctors see the relief on men's faces when they finally understand this. They might come in worried about physical changes, feeling like their intimate life is over. And the doctor can gently explain that while physical changes are normal, the potential for intimacy is actually expanding if they shift their focus. It's about rediscovering intimacy in shared laughter, in comforting each other during difficult times, in reminiscing about shared memories, in planning future adventures together, no matter how small. It's about the security of knowing someone truly sees you, understands you, and loves you, not just for your physical prowess, but for the person you are, built over years of shared life. Let's consider an example. Imagine a couple who has been together for many decades. In their younger years, perhaps physical intimacy was the primary focus. As they aged, health issues or just the natural changes of the body made that aspect less frequent or different. If they hadn't learned this first secret, they might drift apart, feeling disconnected. But if they did learn it, perhaps through difficult times or observing other couples, they might start spending more time just talking, sharing their day, their thoughts. He might make her a cup of tea in the morning just because. She might listen patiently as he talks about his concerns. They hold hands more often. They support each other through health challenges, not just logistically, but emotionally. What happens? Their bond deepens. They feel closer than ever. The emotional and companionate intimacy becomes the bedrock, and any physical intimacy that occurs is a bonus, a beautiful expression of that deeper connection, rather than the sole definition of their intimacy. This shift in perspective is liberating and essential for a fulfilling intimate life throughout all stages of aging. It's about expanding your definition of what it means to be close, to be intimate. It's a powerful lesson, and one many men wish they'd internalized much, much earlier in their lives, before the physical changes began to challenge their initial, narrower view of intimacy. This understanding lays the groundwork for the next secrets we'll explore. Moving on from the understanding that intimacy is far more than just physical, the second powerful secret that many older men wish they had grasped sooner revolves around communication, specifically talking about needs and desires. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Just talk. But for many, perhaps especially men of a certain generation, talking openly about feelings, needs, or desires, particularly in the context of intimacy, has been challenging. There's often a societal script that discourages vulnerability or directness about these topics. As a result, couples can go through years, even decades, operating on assumptions, unspoken expectations, or even misinterpretations. This leads to frustration, resentment, and a gradual erosion of closeness. The secret here is the profound impact of open, honest, and vulnerable communication about intimacy and everything surrounding it. Doctors hear the regret from older men who say things like, "We never really talked about it," or "I just assumed she knew," or "It felt awkward to bring it up." This lack of communication creates distance. Needs change over time, both physical and emotional. What felt good or was desired in your 30s might be different in your 60s or 70s. Without talking about these changes, partners can feel confused, rejected, or inadequate. One partner might withdraw, feeling their advances are unwanted, while the other might feel neglected because they aren't receiving affection in the way they now need it, but haven't expressed that need. Learning to talk openly requires courage and a willingness to be vulnerable. It means being able to say, "I miss feeling close to you," or "I've been feeling a bit insecure about," or "Could we try?" It also means being able to hear your partner's needs and desires without judgment or defensiveness. This secret isn't just about initiating physical intimacy. It's about discussing comfort levels, exploring different ways of being intimate, talking about frequency, or even discussing why intimacy might be challenging at a particular time, stress, health issues, etc. When these conversations happen, they build trust and understanding. They allow couples to navigate the inevitable changes that come with age together as a team, rather than letting those changes become barriers. For example, a man might assume his wife is no longer interested physically because she seems less receptive than she used to be. He withdraws, feeling hurt. What he doesn't know is that she might be dealing with pain during intercourse due to age-related changes, but she's been too embarrassed to say anything. Or perhaps she craves non-physical affection and reassurance more than anything right now, but he's focused only on what he perceives as a rejection of physical intimacy. If they were able to talk openly, she could share her physical discomfort, and he could share his feelings of rejection. They could then explore solutions together, perhaps using lubricants, trying different types of touch that aren't intercourse-focused, or simply increasing cuddles and affirmations. The conversation itself is an act of intimacy, a demonstration of care and commitment to each other's well-being and connection. Doctors often encourage couples to schedule time to talk, specifically about their relationship and intimacy, in a relaxed, non-pressured setting. It might feel awkward at first, like learning a new language, but it gets easier with practice. This secret is about realizing that your partner isn't a mind reader, and neither are you. Expressing your needs and listening to theirs is the only way to ensure you're both feeling loved, desired, and connected in ways that are meaningful now, not just ways that were meaningful in the past. Older men reflect on the years lost to silence, to unspoken assumptions, and realize how much richer their relationships could have been how much pain and misunderstanding could have been avoided had they simply learned the art of open, vulnerable communication about intimacy sooner. This leads us naturally to the third secret, deeply intertwined with the first two. Prioritizing connection and affection even when physical intimacy isn't the primary focus, or perhaps isn't happening at all. This is another layer of the intimacy as more than physical realization, but it's so crucial it stands as its own powerful lesson. The painful reality for many men who focused heavily on the physical side in their younger years is that they might neglect the non-physical expressions of love and connection that become even more vital as couples age. When physical intimacy becomes less frequent, couples who haven't cultivated other forms of affection can feel a significant void. Older men often share with their doctors a profound appreciation for simple touch, for closeness, for reassurance that they are still loved and desired, even if the way that is expressed has changed. The secret is understanding that physical touch that isn't explicitly sexual is not a consolation prize. It is a fundamental human need and a powerful way to maintain connection and intimacy. This means prioritizing cuddling on the sofa, holding hands during a walk, offering a back rub after a long day, kissing hello and goodbye, or simply resting a hand on your partner's knee. These acts of non-sexual affection are constant reminders of love, care, and closeness. They reinforce the bond and keep the emotional intimacy alive and well. Many men, socialized to see touch primarily through a sexual lens, might have let these simpler forms of affection fall by the wayside over the years. They focused on the big moments of physical intimacy and overlooked the daily, gentle affirmations of connection. Later in life, when health or other factors might impact sexual frequency, they, and often their partners, feel the lack of touch acutely. The secret is recognizing the immense value and necessity of this non-sexual physical intimacy throughout a relationship's entire lifespan, and consciously prioritizing it. It's a language of love that speaks volumes without words. Think about the comfort of holding someone's hand when they are upset, or the warmth of being cuddled when you feel lonely. This isn't about sex. It's about connection, security, and love. For couples who have navigated serious illness, loss, or other challenges in later life, these simple acts of affection become incredibly important anchors. They say, "I'm here for you. You are not alone. I still love you." Older men who learn this secret integrate these acts into their daily lives, understanding that these small, consistent gestures build a powerful sense of closeness and keep the flame of intimacy burning, even if the way it manifests physically has changed. Doctors often observe that couples who remain deeply connected and happy in later life are those who never stop touching, hugging, and showing non-sexual affection. It's a habit, a practice, that reinforces the underlying love and partnership. The regret voiced by men who didn't prioritize this sooner is palpable. They realize they missed out on years of nurturing a deeper, more resilient form of intimacy. This secret is a call to action to bring more simple, loving touch back into your relationship, recognizing it not as a substitute for something else, but as a vital form of intimacy in its own right, crucial for maintaining connection and well-being as you age together. This emphasis on connection and affection naturally leads us to the fourth secret, a profound realization about pressure and performance that older men often wish they'd shed much earlier, releasing the pressure of performance and embracing pleasure and connection. Throughout much of life, particularly for men, there can be immense, often self-imposed pressure around sexual performance. Is it frequent enough? Lasting long enough? Satisfying enough? This pressure can stem from societal expectations, media portrayals, or even comparisons with younger selves or others. The painful reality is that this focus on performance can turn intimacy into a source of stress and anxiety rather than joy and connection. As men age, physical changes are inevitable. Erectile function might change, stamina might decrease, and the body simply responds differently. If a man's sense of self-worth and his definition of successful intimacy are tied solely to youthful levels of performance, these changes can be devastating, leading to avoidance, frustration, and a feeling of failure. The secret older men discover, often with a sigh of relief, is the freedom that comes from letting go of this pressure. They learn that intimacy is not a performance to be judged. It is an experience to be shared, a source of pleasure, connection, and emotional closeness. This shift in focus from performance to pleasure and connection is transformative. It allows for intimacy to be explored in a more relaxed, creative, and mutually satisfying way. It opens the door to focusing on foreplay, touch, massage, cuddling, and other forms of physical closeness that may not involve penetrative sex. It's about discovering what feels good for both partners, now, rather than trying to recreate what felt good 20 or 30 years ago. Doctors witness the positive impact of this shift. Men who release the performance pressure often find that intimacy becomes more enjoyable and less stressful. They can be present in the moment with their partner, focusing on mutual pleasure and connection, rather than being distracted by anxiety about whether their body is performing correctly. This freedom allows for greater spontaneity and creativity. Intimacy can become a playful exploration, a way to express love and desire in new and evolving ways. It's about recognizing that pleasure is not limited to one type of activity, and that deep connection can be fostered through a wide range of physical and emotional interactions. Consider a man who spent years worrying about maintaining an erection. Intimacy was often fraught with anxiety. As he aged and experienced natural physical changes, this anxiety only worsened, leading him to avoid intimacy altogether. However, perhaps through a conversation with his doctor or partner, he learns to shift his focus. He starts exploring other forms of physical intimacy with his partner: massage, mutual touch, extended foreplay that doesn't necessarily lead to intercourse. He focuses on her pleasure and on the shared pleasure of being close, touching, and connecting. What happens? The pressure is gone. He finds he can relax and enjoy the physical closeness. Paradoxically, sometimes when the pressure is off, the body responds more readily. But even if it doesn't, the experience of intimacy is no longer defined by a single outcome, but by the shared experience of pleasure and connection. This secret is about redefining what successful intimacy looks like. It's not about meeting an external standard of performance. It's about mutually agreed upon pleasure, connection, and emotional closeness shared between two people. It's about understanding that a meaningful intimate encounter can be anything from a long hug to passionate lovemaking, and that its value is measured by the joy, connection, and love it brings, not by how well it fits a youthful mold. Older men who learn to release the pressure of performance and embrace pleasure and connection find a renewed sense of freedom and joy in their intimate lives, a secret they profoundly wish they had known the power of much, much earlier. Building on the freedom found in releasing performance pressure, the fifth and final secret that older men often express deep regret about not understanding sooner is the importance of adapting and prioritizing intimacy as a vital part of overall well-being, not just a physical act. Life changes constantly, and the physical body changes too. What was easy or frequent in your 20s might require more thought, effort, or adaptation in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. The painful reality for many is that if they don't actively prioritize and adapt their intimate life as these changes occur, it can slowly fade away, leading to loneliness, disconnection, and a sense of loss. The secret is recognizing that maintaining intimacy throughout life requires intentionality and a willingness to adapt. It's not something that just happens effortlessly forever. Just as you adapt your diet or exercise routine as you age for physical health, you need to be willing to adapt your approach to intimacy for emotional and relational health. This means being proactive about discussing changes with your partner, exploring different forms of intimacy that might be more comfortable or appealing now, and making time for connection despite busy schedules, health challenges, or other demands of later life. Doctors see that couples who successfully navigate the intimate aspects of aging are those who talk about the changes, are willing to try new things, and actively carve out time and space for closeness. Adapting might mean exploring different times of day when energy levels are higher, finding comfortable positions that accommodate physical limitations, incorporating lubricants or other aids to enhance comfort and pleasure, or shifting the focus entirely from intercourse to other forms of mutual pleasure like oral sex, massage, or using adult toys. It also means communicating about health issues that might impact intimacy and seeking medical advice when needed, without embarrassment. Ignoring changes or hoping they'll just go away is a common pitfall that leads to avoidance and frustration. Prioritizing intimacy means treating it as an important part of your relationship's health, just like communication or shared activities. It means not letting it be the first thing to drop off the list when life gets busy or challenging. It means understanding that maintaining physical and emotional closeness contributes significantly to overall happiness, stress reduction, and relationship satisfaction in later life. It provides a unique source of connection, comfort, and joy that is essential for well-being. Older men who learn this secret understand that intimacy is not a luxury to be indulged in only when everything else is perfect and easy. It is a fundamental human need and a vital part of a thriving relationship that requires ongoing attention and adaptation. They realize that they spent years perhaps taking intimacy for granted, assuming it would always be there in the same form, without needing conscious effort. They wish they had understood sooner that, like any valuable part of life, it needed care, attention, and a willingness to evolve. This secret is a call to be proactive, open-minded, and communicative about your intimate life as you age. It's about working with your partner to find ways to maintain closeness and pleasure that honor the bodies and lives you have. Now, it's about recognizing the immense value of this connection and refusing to let it fade away simply because it requires adaptation. So, we've talked about 5 incredibly important secrets that many older men and the doctors they confide in wish they had known much earlier. We started with the foundational understanding that intimacy is far more than just the physical act, encompassing emotional connection and shared life. We then delved into the absolute necessity of open, honest communication about needs and desires, a skill that unlocks deeper understanding and allows couples to navigate change together. We explored the power of prioritizing non-sexual affection and connection, recognizing the vital role of simple touch and closeness in maintaining a bond. We discussed the immense freedom that comes from releasing the pressure of performance and instead embracing pleasure and mutual connection in whatever forms feel good. And finally, we just touched on the critical importance of actively adapting and prioritizing intimacy as a vital, evolving part of overall well-being throughout your life. These aren't just abstract ideas. They are hard-won lessons learned from lives lived, from relationships that have endured, and from the wisdom gained through experience. The painful reality is that many men only fully grasp these truths later in life, sometimes after years of misunderstanding or missed opportunities for deeper connection. But the encouraging message, the truly hopeful part, is that it is never too late to learn, to adapt, and to enrich your intimate life and your relationships. These secrets aren't reserved for the young. They are universal principles of connection, love, and vulnerability that can be applied and benefit you at any age. Think about these 5 points not as a checklist, but as invitations to reflect and perhaps to have some meaningful conversations with your partner. Small shifts in perspective, small changes in how you communicate or show affection, can truly make a big difference in the richness and depth of your connection. Remember, your capacity for love, intimacy, and connection only deepens with the years you spend with someone. The history you share, the challenges you've overcome together, the life you've built. This is the fertile ground for a truly profound and satisfying intimate life in your later years. We hope this exploration has been helpful and perhaps sparked some thoughts for you. We'd love to hear your experiences, your own life lessons, or any thoughts you have on these topics. Sharing helps everyone, so please feel free to leave a comment below. If you found value in this video, please give it a like. It really helps our channel reach more people who might benefit from these discussions. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel for more content focused on living a fulfilling, healthy, and connected life at every age. Thank you for spending this time with us. Remember, the journey of intimacy and connection is lifelong, and there is always more to learn, to explore, and to enjoy. Live your best life at every age.